this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
No. We
return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies. We like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we're here to show you what we got. Yeah.
Yep.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Some of it, anyway.
Yeah, well, we're going to show off our entire collections right here, right now. One at a time. Be prepared to be here for a very long time.
Yeah, strap yourselves in. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
I wonder how long that would take if we just went one DVD at a time each and just went back and forth. You brought in the U-Haul or something with your entire collection. We just one.
And the next one is going to be anyone.
We'd have to take a week off or something. That'd be a long video.
All right.
So I'm gonna start us off. I got a lot of high quality on this one.
All right.
And many of which have been recognized by the Academy, if you consider it high quality, or for those of you who say if the Academy acknowledging something means it's a terrible movie, then you're going to probably dislike these. But we're going to start with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ah.
Now it's got a cool slipcover because it's got this on one side and this on the other. Now if you take it off of here, it actually does have the other here.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of it's a cool movie. It's about this guy here, Leonardo DiCaprio, who is a he's an old school Western star from the 50s. He's not doing so well in the 60s. It's 1969. People aren't hiring him like he used to. He made some bad choices. And with him is his stunt double, who is played by Brad Pitt. And he's also kind of tagging along with him for this weird ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good film. I love how they use, it looks like little film reel cases here.
Oh, yeah.
Tarantino does have his hand in this. You can easily tell this. I mean, the fight at the very end is all blood and nasty, as Tarantino is known to do.
Yeah.
But it is well worth that extra time, and it will take you extra time to check this out.
Good times.
It's like almost, I think it's 3 hours.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It is a long one. If it's not 3 hours, it's almost there. And yeah, he was actually hinting that there's going to be a director's cut that's almost twice as long.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, good God. I don't think I could watch this movie at that. Yeah, 161 minutes. So not quite 3 hours, but definitely close.
But if you watch this after The Irishman, it's going to seem positively short.
Because you wanted to borrow that to a...
Yeah, I do need to see this. It's just like, I've got to do my Oscar prep.
Yep.
So, my presentation tonight has a theme. And that theme is my last purchase from Right Stuff's holiday sale.
I have one from that on here.
And it's got some pretty good stuff. I actually did a lot of movies with that purchase. But it should be very interesting. We'll launch right into it with a short series that looks pretty interesting called Hataraki Man.
Oh, yeah.
which basically Hataraki man basically means working man, and it's about a woman in high level position in a Japanese publishing firm. And apparently, it's one of those things where she has to dedicate her life to work in order to get ahead, sort of thing. But it's supposed to be pretty good. It has a very distinctive art style that's different from what you're used to. It looks like overall it'll be different from what I'm used to, so might be worth checking out.
Might have see the back on it. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So I was trying to catch the art style because I really don't feel. I mean, the front doesn't necessarily illustrate the art,
No.
so it's kind of cool to see it. Yeah, I mean, it definitely you can see the difference in the animation style
A little bit more of a
yeah.
shoujo influence than your...
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this one you all have seen a little bit. No surprises here. And that is No Game, No Life 0, which is the movie. This is the limited edition, which I believe is still very much in stock. It was very, very cheap at the time. I got it. I think I got it for like $10.
Nice.
So, I mean, it continues on the No Game, No Life series, which I haven't seen, but I want to keep up with, and with this cheap, why not go premium?
You said that is included in the Steelbook?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Steelbook coming out next week will have both the series and this,
Good deal.
but not with this nice box.
Okay. Cool.
So don't expect a box.
Right. So, first one, the next one I'm going to show, this is one that I have been wanting for a minute. I had a co-worker at the library who raved about this film and said it was an absolutely wonderful film and I had to go see it. Well, I had to see it, I mean. I couldn't go see it. And I believe that you backed her up on this one. I mentioned it to you or something. This morning, Oscar, well, I don't know when this, I forget when this will go up, but when we filmed this morning,
Yes.
the Oscar nominees saw a truly historic moment. A South Korean film, Parasite, nominated in 6 categories, including Best Picture, Director, Film Editing, Production Design, Screenwriting, and International Foreign Language Feature. And if I'm not much mistaken, first time a Korean nominated ever in any of those categories. So, pretty cool. Parasite's just an incredible film. Anyway, this is not Parasite, but it's a really, really fun film that is one of the stronger South Korean films of the past few years. And that is a film called Train to Busan,
Ah, yes.
which actually, I'm not a huge zombie person, but this was a really,
Those
really
are
good.
fast zombies.
This was a really good zombie film, partly because it really did get into the whole class disparity conversation that Parasite was all about.
Yeah.
And they really did make some good points with this one. Not to mention, it was just well made.
For a
And-
second, I thought you were going to pull out Snowpiercer.
No, Snowpiercer is from the director of Parasite, and that's one I need to get as well. Need to see. But like I said, this was on the sale. It was not like an earth-shattering price. I think it was like $13 or something.
Yeah.
But that's a good price for a Korean film, and I just really wanted it.
It's
So,
a pretty intense
yeah.
horror film. If you like
Yeah.
zombie films, it's definitely a worthwhile watching.
But if you watch this channel, you know that I have my limits. Train to Busan comes near my limits, but doesn't really exceed them, so that's a good thing.
Speaking of people pushing themselves to their limits, I watched a couple of really good films last night, one of which he's got back in there because he let me borrow Apollo 11. But I managed to get down here, and I rarely get the chance to fire up the 4K TV to watch. But this was worth watching. I'm sad I didn't get this in 4K now. And that is this film, Rocket Man.
Oh, yeah.
Rocket Man has notes of films like its proteges, way back to Ray, when really things like this started kicking off big time. There were films like that beforehand. Ray is, I think, the one that popularized it. more than anything else. But this one kind of did it in more of a musical format. I mean, you've seen this one, right?
Well, it's a full-blown musical. They use
Yeah.
the songs of Elton John to tell his life. There is a lot of drama and acting in
Oh, yeah.
between, but, you know.
It is a very
Yeah.
well done. I think the last film I saw that used this kind of style and direction was Across the Universe. It reminded me a lot of that, crossed with a film like, say, Bohemian Rhapsody, which to me was a good film, but fell flat on many notes. One of which they really could have relied more on the source material as far as story wise. They could have hit those story beats accurately and that would have been fine. And two, I feel like they didn't take as much advantage of the excellent music catalog as they could have. They did take advantage, but not as much as this. I think if Bohemian Rhapsody was redone in this format, it would have not just done as well as it did, it would have surpassed it, in my opinion. I had a hard time at the very beginning of this film. It took me a moment to get into it, but once I was in, I was in. I mean, did you see this one in theaters?
Well, actually, no, I didn't. I checked out from the library, although it would have been nice to see it in theaters with the surround sound and
it would
everything.
have been nice. I'm sad that I didn't get it, but now I got it for $10. It wasn't that bad, and it was worth getting. I am happy to have it, and sad that I hadn't seen it sooner.
And of course, worth noting that one is now also an Oscar nominee, but sadly only for one single thing, for original song.
Yeah, should have gotten an acting nomination.
It should. Taron Egerton does a great job. He really does. Just great job.
But I'm glad the other song did not, from The Lion King.
And again, as I have said many times before, and though I have not seen this film yet, I know enough about it to know that this would be one as well.
Oh, yeah.
Use of music in film. Both of those, Rocket Man and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And
Yeah.
shoot, Woody Allen would be up for it every year.
Well, if he still does much, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he's making another film.
So speaking of films where the future is less than certain, because this one, each film in the series has been a long time coming.
Wow.
I finally got part 3 of the new Hideaki Anno Evangelion series.
Well, Part 4 releases this year, supposedly.
Supposedly.
We end
This is Evangelion 3.33. You can not redo. It's the limited set, which has a nice cover and a little booklet there. And this one's kind of weird because I've only seen part 2. And I saw it in the English dub. And that's all I have to go on for the whole thing so far. But I will say part 2 is very well done. Very well done. If you are a fan of Neon Genesis Evangelion, you do owe it yourself to look at this series. It would just be nice if Anno could get part 4 out so we could watch it all. But this one very seldom goes below 20, and I think this was like 13, so I was like, I gotta get it.
Oh, yeah,
so,
it's worth having.
Yeah.
I mean, I have all 3 parts, and I have seen part 1. But I'm in no hurry to see it because I don't want to get entrapped in it.
Right.
I don't want to get all involved, and then I'm stuck on the cliffhanger.
And part 1 is pretty closely faithful to the series, right?
Yeah.
With a few exceptions.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Part 2 kind of picks up with, I believe, with Asuka joining the story. And parts of it are very faithful to the series, but it starts diverging early, and by the end of the movie, it's very different. Part 3, I believe, is where it's really off in its own new territory. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, I do have the movie that follows that one in the series, which is Shin Godzilla, because that's what he stopped doing the 4th one to do. But
Shin Godzilla is great.
But I do want the series to end so that I know I won't believe it's coming out until it does.
Did you hear the whole kerfuffle that happened very recently?
Mm-mm.
I read something where Anno came out to make a emphatic public statement that he was not the dude who was arrested, and he was trying to set the record straight. And this is one of the reasons I'm thinking there's some issues with the film. Apparently, one of the people who was running Gainax was arrested for fraud or something. And Anno finally came out and did a detailed talk about his history with Gainax, and it's not pretty. Gainax did some messed up stuff over the years.
Well, one could tell because
Yeah.
of the... I mean, shoot, they ran out of money before they ended the series. That resulted in a very strange last 2 episodes of the Evangelion series.
Well, he got much worse than that. There were licensing issues.
yeah.
They were using his characters without paying him and all kinds of stuff.
Well, hopefully the 4th movie comes out. I would love to see this one come to an end. He's finished it, for goodness sakes. It needs to finally be done.
And it'd be nice if it gets an Oscar nod.
Now, one series that's probably nowhere near from being done is South Park, which I finally did get on Black Friday for $10. The complete 22nd season. I really don't feel like these seasons are worth more than $10 because they rarely go above 10 episodes. And I don't think I've actually seen this particular season. I've seen a lot of them. But I don't think I have because it has Man Bear Pig returning, and I have not actually. I don't remember that. So Man Bear Pig, I'm kind of. I have a bit of a debate in my mind of that because Man Bear Pig is their way of saying Al Gore is just making up global warming, and I don't know, but still, it's an entertaining series. I will say this, Matt and Trey are equal opportunists when it comes to insulting people. So, if I'm insulted, that means that at part of the time, but not all the time, that means that they're doing the job right.
They are equal opportunity offenders.
Yes, very much so.
Very much so. All right. My next one up is one that I was a little surprised I didn't have. But the series adds up. And I'm waiting for Funimation to resume publication of the series. I think this one came out between the end of what's currently out and what needs to be released. And even though it's a prequel, I think they've numbered it as part of the series. And that is Fairy Tail Zero, which is the prequel series focusing on Mavis Vermilion and various other characters. And the start of Fairy Tail explains a lot about her relationship with Zareth. And it was a good little manga. I've read it. Like most of the manga, I've read it. Have not seen an episode of this particular series. But it's nice to have, and one day I will sit down and watch what I have.
Here, I thought you were talking about One Piece, because they've kind of stopped releasing One Piece.
Yeah, a little bit.
And, they're releasing movies, but they have not released an episode of the show for many months, which is kind of weird.
Not for many moons.
Well, I'm not watching it right now, so that's fine. They can hold for a while, but, eventually if I do pick it up, it would be good to be able to continue to watch it. So this next one was one I bought on the Right Stuff sale as sort of like an afterthought. They had it cheap. I saw the first episode and I was about it, but I said, you know what, I'm going to give it another try because it has a lot of cool food porn in it, and that is Antique Bakery.
Huh.
Now this one is an odd series. I've seen the first episode. Did you watch this first episode with me?
Actually, I don't think I've seen that one.
So essentially it's about this guy. He wants to open up this bakery because he doesn't really remember much. He's like, he had somebody who kidnapped him and forced him to eat sweets. And a way of dealing with the past is he's opening up his own bakery. So he hires these two individuals. One is an ex-boxer who just loves sweets, and he's kind of just fumbling through.
An
then there's
ex-boxer.
Yes, and then there's this one, which is, of course, that's the guy here that's, stuff in his face. And then he also hires this this chef who is a gay guy, which you see here, who makes amazing pastries, but prides himself on being able to turn anybody gay. So I'm thinking to myself, this is going to go into places that I'm not sure I want to go, because I'm not a big Yowie fan necessarily. Though Yowie has had a couple of moments where I go, okay, the show's premise is really good. Gravitation is one of the few examples of a show where really, I guess it's like saying, if it's not on center stage, it's like a Yuri where the Yuri's not on center stage. It's not two girls like, hey, let's screw, and then it goes into hentai.
What you mentioned though, it draws me to mind, brings me to mind of that episode of Clerks where Randall prided himself on he could turn any girl gay.
So, again, it's not a bad-looking series, and I do need to try it out, and I will. I'll try it out. If I don't like it, I can always give it up. But if a show is done right, it doesn't really matter what the context is.
Right.
It's like, what was that one? Shoot. What was that one about the Cowboys? The movie that won the Oscar?
Oh, Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain. Now, if Brokeback Mountain was just one gay sex scene after another, I doubt it would have, might have won the Oscar, but I don't know. But it was about the story.
Well, that didn't work for I Love You, Philip Morris.
Yeah, true.
Actually, that movie that movie could have been great, but the sex scenes were played up for laughs, and they played too much into that.
Another good one is Rocket Man.
Yeah,
they have a sex scene in Rocket Man, but it's done right. It adds, it adds enough to the film without taking away.
Right.
Like, so long as it's done tastefully, and a lot of these times, Yowie and Yuri are not done tastefully; they're done as a fetish.
Right.
And if they're done as a fetish, no.
So, speaking of something where the gender roles are not exactly set in stone, this was one that I've heard mixed things about, but that is true of many live-action renditions of manga and anime. And this was one that was pretty cheap, and I was like, well, hell, it's cheap, I'll get it. And that was the live-action movie version of Black Butler.
I'm curious about that.
They had, it was cheap. It was no more than 12. I can't remember exactly. But, of course, for Black Butler, you have Ciel Phantom Hive, the young master of a family that is known as the Queen's Hound Dog, the Queen's dog, basically. Does the dirty work for the Queen, while also running a candy sweets company called Funtum Company or whatever. And then you have Sebastian, who is one hell of a butler. Basically is a demon contracted to serve Ciel until such time as he gets to take Ciel's soul. I have heard decidedly mixed things about this rendition of the story, but like I said, what the hell, it's worth getting. And I've read a large portion of the manga, I've seen a large portion of the anime. Season 2 kind of sucked and shouldn't have existed, but other than that, it's very intriguing. It is a little bit of a product of its times. It is dated, but it's definitely interesting. Yeah.
Well, my next one is an animated film, and actually one of them that has made the short list of nominations. One that I looked at originally and went, nah, and then it went on sale for Black Friday. I was like, it's one of those few cases of you look at it and you say, this film doesn't interest me, but the company that made it is really top notch. So maybe I should give this a try. And what I'm talking about is the film by the Laika film, Missing Link. Now,
The
Laika,
Golden Globe winning Laika film.
that also, and I got this before it won the Globe, and I just got like, what? I didn't even know it was nominated. And then I'm looking at the winners, like, what? Where did this come from? Because to me, I'm sorry, I look at this and I'm like, okay, but it's not. I've seen it, and it is enjoyable. It's very well done. I mean, they use stop-motion animation, and they are amazing in what they have put together. Essentially, you have our main hero here, who is just this adventurer. He wants to go and unlock the world's mysteries, and he wants to join this adventurers club, which is gentlemen's club, where they sit around and tell stories all day. But they look at him as a laughingstock because he's hunting down monsters and things like that. And he starts the thing where he's hunting down the Loch Ness Monster. And he decides to go and hunt the Sasquatch. So he finds the Sasquatch, and the Sasquatch tells him, I want you to help me find the rest of my kind out in Shangri-La. And hence a long adventure ensues, because the Adventurers Club, they don't want him to join, but if they find out that this is real, they kind of have to let him join. So they are trying to thwart him and take him out at every step of the way. It's very well done, very good action, and amazing animation. I would not be upset if this won. I'm not sure I would consider it better than Toy Story 4. I can't believe I'm saying this. But still, it would be kind of cool to see Laika take home Oscar Gold. Did you need to borrow this, or you already got it from the library?
I got it from the library, and I thought about watching it this afternoon, but I was too busy. But I'll be watching it in the next couple days. Now, answer me this. Is Hugh Jackman the adventurer or the Sasquatch?
I think he's the adventurer.
And so Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis is the...
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then Zoe Saldana is the other one, yeah.
No. She's this character. And Zach Galifianakis
Obviously.
and then Hugh Jackman.
Well, I originally thought Hugh Jackman was the Missing Link character. But anyway, I don't know why I thought that. But anyway... Yes, next up, we're going to backtrack a little bit to our previous mention of Black Butler. As I mentioned, they originally did Season 1. They ended the series, said, wait a minute, this is too popular, and then they brought it back for Season 2.
Let's do something original.
While in the meantime, the manga was still chugging along. Basically, the anime was pretty faithful to the manga almost up until the end, and then they decided to end it, and so they changed a story arc to tie it off. In the manga, a little ways further along, they started a new story arc and another one, and they've done a few of these as more directly faithful adaptations. And I went ahead and jumped on an opportunity to get a Funimation Limited Edition, which is always nice,
very cool.
of Season 3, Book of Circus.
I was going to say.
Book of Circus, which they pick up a new member of their group. I think they call him Snake. I can't remember exactly. But he has snakes that speak to him, and he always says Emily, or they're all named after poets. But anyway, so this is a really nice looking box. Really nice looking, very classy. But basically, I think it was Season 3 was Book of Circus and 4 was Book of Murder.
Yeah.
And then they did the Book of the Atlantic, which was the movie. And there are a couple of story arcs since then, so they'll probably have another season.
They'll come back.
But-
They didn't tie it off
Yeah.
anymore. Book of Circus was a good series.
It looks fun.
And I will say this: you've got that one. I have only one limited edition for Black Butler, and it has to be, unfortunately, the second season, which is the worst season of of that series.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they have this on sale for $28, I think it was. I was like, I gotta do that.
It just wasn't enough for me to say, you know what, I'm going to upgrade to the limited.
Right.
The only one I might one day upgrade is the original series, because I've got the original DVD release.
Right.
But everything else is on Blu-ray.
Your set 2 does look nice.
It does look nice, yeah. Too bad it's not a good series. That's when they decided, you know what, we're going to make up our own crap.
Right.
We're just going to keep going with it. Even though we tied it off, we'll just keep moving with the original story.
Right.
And then they ended it in such a way that's like, what? Yeah, well, I don't think that story's going anywhere.
Yeah.
So this next one is another one from my Right Stuff purchase. This was sort of a cart topper, and that was Ashura Cryan.
Almost got that one.
I've heard mention of this. I can't remember whether it was good mention or bad mention, but I've heard the name enough times that I'm like, okay, I want to see it. I mean, essentially, you've got this guy whose friend died, and then her ghost is kind of just staying with him, and he is set to guard this mysterious package, and these other two girls kind of just show up, and then they can see the ghost girl. I'm not sure what else this thing is about. I'm sure, I don't know why, but I look at this, I thought mecha, maybe? But, I mean, it looks like a mecha suit, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Like sort of like a fantasy mecha.
Well, the way the font
steampunkish?
there, or if you want to call it font, kind of put me in the mind of like a game or a adventure fantasy.
Isekai!
Isekai. Yeah, it's probably an isekai.
Isekai!
Actually, you know, the way he screams Isaiah, from what I understand, the people on ANN would say that. Isekai! No!
I'm curious. It's probably going to sell on the shelf for a long time, but eventually I will get to this.
Alright, so my last one, well, not my last one, my second to last one, is one that I think I paid $20 for, and it's really $15 more than I wanted to pay, but it was probably my last opportunity to buy a brand new release from NIS America. It was the last one they had on this year's sale that I did not yet own, and that was the series Ghastly Prince Enma Burning Up. I finally have it, and I don't know what to make of this series, but he says it's fun. And it definitely, it's an NIS series, so I had to get it eventually. And, well, I'm glad I finally got it.
It's an okay series. It's
Yeah.
not terrible. It's not great. It's just kind of meh. So this next one was the other one I watched on the 4K, and this one I did watch in 4K. And my wife and I actually sat down and watched it over the weekend. This one, I believe, is a rare find. It's one of those Best Buy steelbooks that sold out very quickly. Matter of fact, I was told by the guy in there, yeah, I was going to go get it, but when I came into work this morning, not long after it opened, they had all sold out. I'm hoping that, I don't know whether I hope for them to be in print or not. It's kind of nice to have something valuable, but at the same time, I hope everybody can get a chance to get it. And that is the Joker steelbook.
It's a nice looking steelbook.
This actually has a pretty cool cover on it. And, you know, and it's a big one for Oscar love.
Big one.
They got a lot of Oscar love as far as nominations. As you can see, this is the...
So how'd that look in 4K?
It looked really good.
Oh, good deal.
And, of course, the soundtrack is amazing. So it brought the soundtrack out.
Great use of music and film contender.
This is one I've had a kind of a debate about. Because, you know, all those people, all those toxic fans, the ones that are always like, Star Wars sucks, You should go kill yourself. They love this film.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but a good majority love this film. It's their way of saying, those movies suck. This movie is awesome. And, you know, sometimes a fandom can sour you towards something before you even watch it. And so I was like, but I need to watch it. It's not their fault. It is strange that it's by the same guy who did The Hangover, for God's sakes. I would never have thought him capable. But never say never.
Yeah.
They did a great job. The acting is indeed spectacular. I would think that he's a front runner for the win on Best Actor.
Mm.
Would it be interesting if we saw 2 Joker wins for the Oscar?
It may be the first time there's 2 wins for the same role, but I'm not sure.
I don't know, but it's kind of interesting. Just
It's rare. It's very
it's
rare.
got to be the first time to have 2 wins for a comic book character role.
Oh, yeah. Unquestionably. I mean, well,
and-
how many others have been nominated? Only a few.
And for those who want to distance themselves, it is still a DC movie. It's still based off of DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another take. As the Joker would say himself, he prefers his origin story to be multiple choice.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a good example of that.
Of course, in the usual example, you got A, B, C, and D. This is E.
I was actually surprised how much from the comics they still pulled.
Yeah.
Because everything I had heard was, we're going to try and distance ourselves from the comic books
Well,
as far as we possibly can because we hate the comics. And
who said that?
that's just like several articles I read. I read one interview with the director who said they don't think that comic book movies are good and they need to distance themselves from it for the Joker. And
Comic book movies or the comics? That's a different thing altogether.
and the idea is that whole disdain for comic book nerds and getting to something at a higher place. And that also soured me a little bit on it, reading that director interview. But, you know, it surprised me how much that they did pull from it. And they are doing a sequel.
Yeah.
So, and I've heard the sequel will have a Batman, but not the Batman, that not Twilight Batman that we're dealing with upcoming. I guess there'll be a different concept of Batman. So,
I tell you what, though, you've heard the casting news for that, right? For the Batman?
who's playing? Oh, you mean that Batman? Yeah, I have been listening to that. It's going to be interesting.
Yes, I'm intrigued, because, you know, you do have Robert Pattinson as Batman, but Colin Farrell is the Penguin and Paul Dano is the Riddler. Sounds good.
Oh, I mean,
I'm intrigued.
I'm willing to bet that this movie is good.
Yeah.
The fact that Batfleck impressed me that he was actually able to pull it off.
Oh, he was good for the role.
And he did a really good job in the role that he was given.
Yeah.
I think that Zack Snyder screwed over what would have been a really good thing. I mean, listening to Ben Affleck talk about what he wanted to do for the Batman movie, he wanted to do Court of Owls.
Yeah.
And he also wanted to do one with Deathstroke as one of the villains. I think that if they let him have the reins, he's a capable director. I think if he had the reins, he would have had some pretty awesome Batman films.
I mean, that's the opposite of what we're getting, because, you know, Court of Owls, no one's really done that.
No one
Except
has.
they did get into it in Gotham, I think, but that was really the first time.
One of the video games coming out looks like it's going to be a Court of Owls related video
And
game.
Deathstroke would have been a fairly new for the movie. You know, I mean, he's big in Teen Titans, but otherwise. But whereas now
Arrow.
the new one, well, yeah, it's true. He was big on Arrow. That was interesting, actually. But now though, you got Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman. It really looks like they're trying to kind of recapture Gotham in this film, which I don't totally complain about, but I'm curious to see what they're going to do
I'm
that's
curious
different.
how they do it, and I've got nothing against Robert Pattinson.
Right.
I joke about it, but it's more just to joke on it because I do find it funny, but I don't.
Oh, and he
You know.
is now officially in one of the year's Oscar-nominated films.
Oh yeah, because
The-
Lighthouse.
The
Yeah.
Lighthouse is up for cinematography.
I mean, he's worked hard
Yeah.
to try and get away from his
Right.
Twilight.
He and Kristen Stewart both, I gotta give them props.
Yeah.
They are two of the hardest working indie actors out there right now because they're so desperate to get away from Twilight.
Get us away from that. That's not us.
Alright, but anyway, my last one is a touchback to something that he brought back earlier, which is food porn. I had to jump on this. This may be my last opportunity to get any part of this series and anything close to the awesome sets that he has.
Ah,
So I went ahead and got Food Wars Season 1, the limited set. Which, if you watch, you've seen his unboxing of this.
it's a freaking awesome.
It's a friggin' awesome set. Set 2 apparently is out of print now, and I don't think I'll be able to get it.
I'll have
But
to
I
wait,
wanted to at least get the first one. Yeah.
I'm watching Set 3, which comes out this
Mm-hmm.
month, but I am not going to pay the full price for it because I have this. Because the other two sets, they went through many sales before even Set 2 went out of print.
This one I ended up going for $35, I think.
Yeah,
But Set 2 was a little more this go round.
so
But from what I hear, though, I wouldn't want to maintain them all anyway. You know, A&N put the fourth plate. One of their reviewers put the fourth plate as one of the worst films of the year.
was it a film?
I
instead
mean,
of a-
series.
I
just
wanted to
because-
see the fourth because
They said that it's like a pale joke of the original, basically.
because the third plate ended on a cliffhanger, so I was
Ah.
really wanting to see where they went with that.
Ah.
Oh well, but I've heard the
But I
fourth
do
plate
want to
is
see
the
at least season
end.
1.
I have heard the fourth plate is the end of the anime,
Okay.
which means that I only have to get 4 of these, and I've got 2 down. So hopefully
Alright.
they'll continue this process, so I'll have 4 sets up there.
Right?
If you want to see what that second set looked like, first off, watch the video.
Right.
It's not as cool as that first set is the coolest one.
Right.
But you know, it's done in the same lunchbox style.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's more of a wood grain.
Very cool.
I mean, lighter wood grain.
Yep.
So otherwise, I hope you all
Well,
have
that was it?
enjoyed.
All right.
And we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
All right.